Okay, this is going to be my Foraging for Wild Plants series, Episode 1. Episode 1 is going to be backyard foraging, where I'm going to take you out back and take a look at what's available out there, which might be available in your backyard or in your own neighborhood. Alright, first of all, I want to show you something really crazy. This is insane. This is poison ivy. Okay, get to know it, recognize it. Usually grows down along the ground like this. Okay, but this is an interesting poison ivy one that we found because we thought it was a tree, because we're thinning out all the brush over here. Look at this poison ivy. I wish you could have seen it before we cut it down, but this poison ivy was about 6 feet tall and about 4.5 feet wide. It's a poison ivy tree. It's insane. Okay, so anyway, we're out back. This fence here is kind of the border. On the other side of the fence is my actual backyard. This area back here is on the back, behind the backyard, but still part of the property. It used to be really grown up, like the grasses and everything was up to my knees, and there was a lot more available out here to eat. In fact, there's rabbits out here eating it and being available to eat. But the problem is the city got on me about the rank vegetation, so I had to get out here and cut it. As a result, there's not as much out here available to forage, but it's a little bit more like an actual yard, like what you might find in your neighborhood, or you know, vacant lots and so on. So we're going to go ahead and take a look around and see what's available. Okay, I think a good first place to start here would be a dandelion. I see there's a whole lot of ants on the blossom of this dandelion. I don't know if you can see that in the video, but you can use the blossom. There's a lot of ways to use dandelion, but the leaves, incidentally, can be used, first of all, fresh, like in salads, okay? But for that, you want to make sure and use the very young leaves, the very small young leaves, because they get kind of bitter, especially once they get the flower on there. But even the larger, more bitter ones can be used like greens or like spinach, where you can cook them by boiling, or I'd recommend steaming. You get a lot more of the nutrients that way. Yeah, see, here's a good bunch of dandelions. Nice fresh baby leaves down here at the bottom, which, like I said, when they're small like this, they're okay fresh. Still a little bit bitter, but you're gonna find a lot of wild plants are bitter. Now a good one back here too is this really old hickory tree. Okay, in the fall we're going to have tons of hickory nuts. Now the squirrels and chipmunks use them, and you can use them too. As far as identifying trees, you're going to want to check a book. In fact, I really want to stress that point. Don't watch this video and then go out and start eating stuff. It's a good idea to do some research, either online, or I have books talking about which plants are available in which areas. And the good thing about the field manuals that I have, they also show lookalikes that are toxic. So you might find this and say, hey, I think this is so-and-so, and eat it. But if you were to take the time to do a little bit of research, you might find out that there's a certain plant that's toxic that looks a lot like it, and it'll tell you how to tell them apart so that you don't make that kind of fatal error. In fact, here's a good example of that, because when we started thinning out all the growth out here, I found this tree. Now, I'm not even sure what this stuff is, but it sure looks edible. But at the same time, I'm not just going to pluck a couple off and pop them in my mouth. I don't know what they are. So I'm going to check with my field manuals and see if I can find out what this is. It sure looks pretty. Chances are it's edible. Okay, this is poison oak. Definitely not edible. Same sort of thing as the poison ivy. If you're not familiar with it, then you'll find that it's very similar to poison ivy and a real pain. Okay, this is wild strawberry. These are the leaves here. Looks like somebody already got this one. Beat me to it. One of the rabbits, most likely. There was a ton of these out here until I had to mow it. And let's take a look at the blossom real quick. Here's a blossom. Looks a lot like regular domestic strawberries. And here's another one. That's a pretty good shot of the plants there. There's another blossom. I've seen these elsewhere, places that haven't been mowed, that were really big, about the size of the tip of my thumb here. And big and red and juicy. And speaking of strawberries, check this out, what else I found. We're down here behind my next door neighbors, and this is interesting. Look, here's a wild strawberry. See, that's a wild strawberry. Here's another one that's coming out, getting ready to get ripened. The reason that they're looking so good is because, as you can see, this area is really overgrown. And, got these two girls sounding the alarm. But that's not the reason I came down here. I wanted to show you something else. Something not quite wild, but look at this. See that? These are not wild strawberries. These are domestic strawberries. So apparently somebody at one point had a strawberry patch here, and it just kind of went feral. I'm going to eat this one. See? Free strawberries down here. I wonder if the neighbors even know they're here. Huh, it looks like somebody knows they're here. That looks like a slug was eating it. But yeah, if you can find a patch that looks like this, that's really overgrown, you're bound to find something. The problem is when you start mowing, you're going to start killing all your stuff. So now we're walking a little bit closer to my backyard, because I'm sure the next door neighbors are wondering why their dogs are barking. But I'm also going to eat this little wild strawberry. No, you know what? I'm going to leave it, because they get a lot bigger than that, and I'm sure that's not as ripe as it could be. But I'm definitely going to be back. And I'm going to stop deliberately mowing down mine. Now, on my way up here, I noticed this too. Look at this. This is mulberry. Way far from being ripe, but this tree is going to yield billions of mulberries. Holy crap, look at the size of this poison oak. See? Yeah, this sort of thing is something you want to watch out for while you're out foraging. So yeah, not as much out here as there used to be before I cut it down. But that's pretty much a good overview of what a backyard or backyard area would be like. Next in the series, I'm going to be going out actually in a field, one that's just a little bit less tamed, and we'll see what else is available. There's actually a lot of food available close to home here, just not right here in my own backyard. Except I'm going back for some of them strawberries.